listening to the 23 Personnel Podcast, a Texas Tech athletics podcast where food and sports clash at the goal line. Here are your hosts, Spencer and Michael.
All right, what is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the 23 Personnel Podcast. This is your host, Spencer, joined by Michael. Michael, what's up, man?
And I'm just reliving the cinematic masterpiece Armageddon. Do you remember the scene where a young man comes running in the situation room or whatever in the first act of the movie with a clipboard screaming, "We have 18 days before it hits Earth."
I don't recall that specific moment. I mean, I know what part of the movie you're talking about. I just can't. I'm not seeing that in my mind right now.
Well, I'll try to paint a picture for you via Twitter, but that's just a long way to say we have 18 days before Texas Tech football starts. Let's go.
Yeah, we do. Let's go. Off season is coming to a close, Michael, and what that means programmatically. Let's just jump right in. You're going to get us every
programmatic. Say that. What now?
Programmatically. Logistically, we're going to be recording every week, so there's not going to be any weird lapses or, hey, why didn't they talk about that new thing that just happened? No, it's because we were trying to save ourselves some. Anyways, every week, release every week. Obviously, still the thing. We're recording every week, coming at you every week. That, like I said, means we're just that much closer to the start of the season. Today's episode, whenever you listen to this fine production, we're going to be getting you what's new in 2024. New rules, new conferences, new players, new coaches. Just a reminder of all that has changed since November or December that you may have forgotten or just like, I'll figure that out later. We're going to talk about it tonight. We're going to get you all set up because next week we're talking about the Big 12 conference preview and high-level projections. After that, we're talking Texas Tech predictions and getting you ready for Abilene Christian. ACU. Go Wildcats.
No.
Go Red Raiders.
No.
I'm just such a big Maverick MacGyver fan. So excited for that guy.
You know, Keith Patterson really did a good job for this program and this program. A lot of love there. A lot of love there to the Purple Wildcats of Taylor County.
Can I
the county seat?
County seat of Taylor.
The key city.
Confess that it takes some intentional effort on my part not to say Keith Patrick. That man just
I can
lives,
see that.
Forefront of the mind here.
He's got that voice. The voice just it goes with you. The voice of the Friendship Tigers, I should say.
Speaking of, did you see the release of the new mascot logo, colors, all that stuff for the new Friendship High School stuff? Yeah, I saw it today. Our main man Pete Christie shared it. It's like, I wish you weren't so integral to the sports scene of Lubbock because you know nothing.
Well,
he's just that guy that everybody sends their crap to, and he just reposted. Like this summer, and God love him, reposted every successful Little League team picture. This team just placed second in the city tournament for Western All-Stars. Cool. That means nothing, but thanks for sharing, Pete.
It's good. It's good. Probably got 1,100 likes on Facebook.
I know. That's ridiculous. Anyways, some things he shares, newsworthy, noteworthy. Anyways, like the Friendship Heritage. Is it Heritage? Friendship Heritage?
Friendship and Memorial.
I see those like. Okay. Anyways, Friendship Memorial.
I like that. I like that better than Liberty Cooper or whatever that's supposed to be.
What's wrong with Liberty?
Well, you're replacing the L in LCISD with Liberty instead of Lubbock. I take
Because they
issue
didn't
with
want to
that.
have. They wanted to maintain the brand of the LCP brand.
Just call it something else.
Because now they're
Something else with a C.
instead of the Lubbock Cooper Pirates, they're the Liberty Cooper Patriots.
Yes.
Still works, man. It still flows
And
right off the
instead of the
tongue.
Friendship Tigers, you've got the Friendship Memorial Panthers.
Yeah.
I had to look that up because I was hopeful that this was going to be like a East Dillon thing, but silly me, the Dillon is the Panthers and East Dillon were the Lions, I believe. Or do I have that backwards? It was Lions and Panthers.
I couldn't tell you, man. I don't know
For
anything
Friday
about
Night Lights. So Lions and Tigers. We're close. We're in the
Bears?
feline family,
Oh my.
but we're not quite the same.
Which is it just no comment here, but it just jogs the memory of schools that were in my high school district, and then also here kind of regionally, that were named after um, individuals that have since been disgraced, and names of schools have changed.
Sure. Correct.
We had 2 schools in Tyler that were affected that way, and I couldn't tell you what they're called now, what their mascots are now. Very similar to what happened down in Midland. But
well,
anyways.
I will say at one point, my school district had 3 bulldogs in it. It was great. Half of the district were bulldogs.
I actually
So
don't know if I could
at least
tell
that
you.
wasn't racist, but it was still annoying.
I probably couldn't tell you all of the mascots in our district. Even
I
within
unfortunately could tell you most of them.
the city, I think I could probably do that for Mesquite. I mean, it was Jaguars, Stallions, Skeeters, Wranglers, Pirates. There we go. We had 5 high schools. Michael, how many did you have?
It varied, either 5 or 6, I think. Oh wait, in the town?
Yeah, no, I was just talking about the city of Mesquite, man.
Oh yeah, no,
Those are all Mesquite
no.
high schools.
In the city of Merkel, Texas proper. One high school. Yes, I did not mean to mislead our audience.
No,
Sorry, I didn't want y'all to think I was a city boy.
Yeah. Anyways, I could probably name you one mascot outside of the city of Mesquite, and it was Longview because they've always been the Longview Lobos.
Oh wow!
Or at least for as long as I can remember.
Everybody out here are the Lobos.
The other schools we just called them by their name, like Berkner, Plano East, Irving Nimitz, LD Bell. These weren't all schools in the district, just schools that we ended up playing. Grand Prairie. I think they were the Gophers.
Oh, that's good. That's good alliteration too.
But anyways, I don't want to
Breckenridge Buckaroos were probably my favorite that were in our district at one point.
The Unicorns have to be up there for New Braunfels. But
yeah,
they weren't even close to our district. New in 2024, Michael. Let's refocus here.
Speaking of mascots and teams and things,
I don't have the number in front of me, but there are new schools coming into FBS this year. Kennesaw State.
That's it.
Is one of them. The one, but there was like 1 or 2 last year.
Oh, I see.
Sorry, I'm getting confused because there's 2 coming in next year, including Delaware, the Blue Hens of Delaware. That's not what we're talking about. Let's do fall camp real quick. Let's do some Texas Tech updates. Fall camp.
That won't take long.
And then we'll get to what's new in 2024 because
okay,
we are timely if we are anything. Michael, the 23 Personnel Podcast.
That's us.
I have no good news from fall camp, unfortunately. we know who's QB1. We know who RB1 is. We have a pretty good idea about the rotation of wide receivers. I have a pretty good idea. It's going to be a by committee up front on the defensive line. Um, as strongly as you can pencil in Baron Morton and Taj Brooks as starters, quarterback and running back, you can pencil in um, Rodriguez and Roberts as your starters at linebacker. Um, the guy that I think um, you could point to secondarily in the secondary, Braylon Lux and CJ Baskerville are going to be some starters. AJ McCarty, you would expect is probably going to be a starter. Mo Horn. But anyways, um, one guy's not going to be a starter, Michael. Dylan Spencer. He's out for the year. Non-contact injury, what sounds like a torn ACL or other knee ligaments. Um, Dylan Spencer, defensive end, rush, edge, whatever you want to consider him. That late recruiting cycle flip from Texas last season. It was in his redshirt year. Um, early on in fall camp, unfortunately, messed up that what I'm assuming is a knee, but he will be out for this season. The other thing I gleaned from some coverage coming out of the scrimmage number 1 this past weekend um, is the offensive line is not as settled as we thought it was maybe a few weeks ago, which I'm in the camp that I am most pessimistic and cynical about the offensive line. Um, so the fact that there's competition there is like, I don't like it. Actually, it's just me looking for bad news, I guess. Um, Sterling Porsche, who I've called Porcher. Apparently, that's not correct.
I'm
Now
so glad
split.
you put the pronunciation there because I was going to go all in on Porcher if you ever threw that to me.
Well, I was all in on Porcher last time we talked about him.
I was just probably like, yep,
Hmm?
I know exactly who you're talking about. So
Splitting time
sorry,
with Dalton
Mister.
Porsche.
Yeah, Mister Porsche. Our apologies.
Um, but you really can't expect the greatest pronunciation from the two of us here. We're gonna try, but then
Hey, you're
uh,
like 10 times better than me, and that just says I don't know what that says, but that's still a fact.
we're gonna get to like um, I couldn't even tell you like a name that you should know that we butcher all the time. Um, but Ken Niumatalolo, not one of the names I'll butcher. Um, which he's in the notes. We're gonna talk about him a little bit later. Um, Sterling Porsche splitting time at left tackle with Dalton Merriman. Um, I guess on the positive, if you want to flip the positive there, um, as the incoming transfer from Middle Tennessee, like he had the lowest PFF grade along the offensive line, and we're like, we're just gonna have to trust our scouting and our evaluation of this young man because the grades don't look good. Um, but I mean, I guess it's positive there. Could be. The other thing was other note was Ty Buchanan, who did start left tackle there at the end of the season in the bowl game, was flipped over to right tackle. Apparently, he's now competing for some playing time out there with Caleb Rogers, who was your starting right tackle last year. Had sounded like he was moving inside. He may still play inside, but Caleb Rogers is pushing him on the outside there. Um, I think I liked him better as a tackle just with the experience he's had with a couple of years out there. At tackle, he was left tackle 2 years ago. With it was moved to right tackle last year. Um, it felt weird to try to move a tackle inside, um, but as a human being, Caleb Rogers, one obviously share the Rogers name. Love that. Met him a couple of times. He, as a team captain, came to visit us at the Children's Hospital a couple weeks ago. Very mature individual. I don't know if I shared this story, but like the first patient we went to go see was up in the ICU, and that patient was having a rough start to her day, and was just not super welcoming to having a bunch of football players come in the room. Um, but Caleb came out of that room and said, "Hey, like, how can we be better interacting with the patients?" And we're like, "Fantastic question. Great of you to be thinking about like how you can make this better for them." Um, but kind of throw this one out because it's this is not going to be the norm for you the rest of the morning. So great awareness to be like, what can we do to make this experience more enjoyable, not only for the other players but for the patients we're seeing. So
Would you
appreciate
say
that.
that that would translate on the field? Good field awareness.
He knows. Yeah, I don't know, maybe. Hope so.
I think so.
um
Calling out
when
things.
when he came to the elementary school that my son goes to, he was reading a book. When he introduced himself to the students, Hayden, our middle child, our youngest son, when he heard that his name was also Rogers, lit up like a light bulb. Was like, he's a Rogers too. I was like, yeah, man, how awesome is that? So we had to go introduce him. Um, Super personable with the kids, but especially with Hayden. Like when he made that connection, like it's all about it. Um, so I'm a fan of Caleb Rogers, the person. I don't like. I'm not going to hate on him as a player. I don't think he's been our strongest offensive lineman in the past few years, but he's a great dude.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say like he's a great dude to deflect and say like he's a terrible player, but anyways, out there with Ty Buchanan. So um, ultimately, maybe just the competition pushes everybody to be better instead of just penciling everybody in and like that's what it's going to be. Um, but that's what I got for fall camp updates, Michael. I can't tell you that Micah Hudson's going to be the savior of the offense outside of Taj Brooks.
I can tell
Um,
you he looks really good catching overthrown balls.
he's got some adjustment to him
Yeah,
that makes his catch radius even that much bigger.
it's nice to see that. That was my takeaway was, man, what a great catch, but how can you not hit your wide open guy with zero pass rush? Anyway,
Yeah, so I don't want to be a
it's
Debbie
fine.
Downer,
It's
but
going to get better.
there are warning signs out there that this may not be that great of a year.
No, I know. Hey,
Um,
we're
so
we're not there yet. Speaking of fall camp, I did want to talk really quickly about the other football
yeah, please.
that our Red Raiders play. So I'm going to try to do a better job of keeping up with this year. Obviously, listen to Seeing Scarlet. They've had recent interviews with players, and they're really way more supportive of the women's athletics than I am, and I really appreciate everything they do. We do have Lady Raider season tickets, by the way. I don't think I told you that. I got those a few weeks ago, so I'm pretty excited about that for the three of us. But soccer starts this week. Your number 8 preseason ranked. So right now, I love preseason polls. We're going to talk about preseason polls next. I don't like the ones we're going to talk about next so much, but this one's good. I like this one because your Texas Tech Red Raiders are number 8 in the country, and this Thursday they will be facing as their season opener. They had an exhibition game last week. Who was that against? It was up in Denver against Denver. Tech won 1-0, but exhibition so technically doesn't count. So the real stuff starts this Thursday at number 4 Penn State. This is at 6 p.m. Central on the Big Ten Network for those of you fortunate enough to get it. So if you have Hulu Live, guess what? You have the Big Ten Network. Did you know that? Possibly not. So I watch it like twice a year. But be sure to catch the Red Raiders 6 p.m. Thursday night if you can, opening their season versus number 4 Penn State. Just a couple of top 10 teams matching up. No big deal. And then Sunday at 7 p.m. back to Lubbock for their home opener against CSUN Do you know what CSUN stands for?
Oh, hold on. I think I do.
It's very apt.
No, I'm not even going to try
Okay.
to guess.
So C, you probably think Colorado. Sun is like, okay, well, it's, yeah. I mean, not Colorado, California.
Colorado. Yeah, I was thinking California.
California is sunny, so that kind of makes sense. But it's California State University Northridge. So Texas
North.
Tech will host CSUN, the Matadors, possibly.
How
I
apt.
think so. Yeah, also apt, and that will be at 7 p.m. Sunday night on ESPN Plus. So you'll be able to watch that one. I bet most people listening have access to ESPN Plus instead of the Big Ten Network. So yeah, it is the Matadors. Really cool logo.
I'm going to
Looks,
have to go look it up now.
yeah, that's awesome. And they're black and red and white.
I do. I do like it with
Yeah,
the flourish of the cape. Is that a
man,
cape?
good season opener. Yeah, they have a, or it's a, well, maybe it is a cape. It's the, what's the thing? What's the thing you hold in front of the
I
bull?
don't know.
Does
Bullfighter cape.
I think it is a cape.
Oh, it's
That's what
the
they wear.
muleta,
Tip of my tongue.
a red cape used in conjunction with a sword.
So that was my quick soccer update for this week. As always, check out Seeing Scarlet. They will have a lot more intelligent things to say about our women's athletics.
There you go. So you want to do AP preseason poll?
I think so.
I mean, not that there's any like merit to this.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like we have to, but
Okay, we'll just run through it real quick.
but like I said, the only poll I really preseason poll I trust is the NCAA Division One women's soccer poll.
Oh, okay.
That's it.
Well, we'll just breeze through
We'll
this one.
acknowledge this one though.
Yeah. We'll just go in order. Starting with 1, Georgia, Ohio State, Oregon, Texas. I don't get that one. Did you hear? Have you? I don't know why you would be keeping up with it. I just heard it because I was sitting in a chair where they were just blasting me with SEC network content.
Yeah, I often sit in
Um,
chairs too.
well, at the hair cutting barber shop, if you will, salon studio. Sport clips. Well, let's not make it any fancier than it should be. They were bemoaning the depth of Texas running backs because they've lost their guys 1 and 2. I couldn't tell you if it was for the season or just start the early up, and they're down to looking at Jaden Blue as their starter, #1 guy. I was like, I remember Blue. He didn't seem that bad. Um, that's as much Texas as I can tell you about, and I only learned it today because much like when A&M left the Big 12, they are no longer within my scope of caring. So enjoy, have fun. 5, Alabama. 6, Ole Miss. That was a little bit surprising to me. 7, Notre Dame. 8, Penn State. Michigan, Florida State. Round out your top 10. Missouri, Utah, LSU, Clemson, Tennessee, Oklahoma, Oklahoma State, Kansas State, Miami, Texas A&M, Arizona at 21, Kansas at 22, USC, NC State, Iowa.
So not a lot of love lost for Arizona and Kansas. When was the last time Kansas was ranked in a preseason poll?
2009.
Had to be, right?
Let me see if I can find that real quick. And I'm just going off of like the 2008 that they had.
Yeah, no, yeah, I'm with you. It's their
Let's see.
7th. This is the 7th time in the first in 15 years. So if you do the math, 2009 nailed it.
Let's see. Where were they? 25th. 2009 preseason bowl, 25. Texas Tech was that's ridiculous. They were 1, so 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So what would have been 31st in terms of the preseason poll?
In 2009,
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Following
I mean,
2008, and with the roster they had going into 2009,
well, we lost everybody. They then went on to win 9 games.
and should have won more. Stupid
Yeah.
Houston. Stupid. Anyways, that's your preseason top 10 or top 25.
I I don't. It's just the same grievance I have every time. The preseason numbers. I wish they didn't matter as much as they did, because they absolutely do. The only thing that helps a little bit is these first 2 or 3 weeks. Most game times are locked in. Most networks are locked in for the first month of the season or so. But man, these numbers mean so much beyond that, because then they start getting, oh, a number 7 versus a number 17.
Yeah, it's
They're both 3-0. Oh, well, they're going to be on CBS on in the afternoon slate, and then they're both going to lose 6 in a row later. It's ridiculous.
yeah, it's the baked in preseason bias, confirmation bias.
Yep.
Um, because if you're unranked, to fight up into the realms of ranked, it's going to take
Oh,
several weeks. But like as a ranked team, you can lose a few times. But they'll be fine.
they'll figure it out.
They'll figure it out. It's early.
That's just a really good Louisiana team. That is a solid
It's tricky.
Liberty team.
Playing Wyoming on the road, it's tricky.
Ooh, have you heard about the elevation there?
They play, that's the highest FBS stadium in the country.
Pullman's tough to play. It's tough to play in Pullman.
Man.
So yeah,
Anyways.
I don't know. It's whatever. I kind of wish they wouldn't come out with them at all anymore, because they're pointless. All that matters is, with the playoffs being
Playoffs.
with over half, not over because I can't do fractions, almost half of the top 25 making the playoffs. What are we doing? Why don't we just wait until the CFP rankings come out? But no one could live with themselves if they didn't know what numbers
Okay, but
the Associated Press thought they were till November.
we'll get to the CFP rankings bit in a little bit when we talk about the playoffs this year, because that's in the what's new.
We should just have a top 12. Why even do 25 anymore?
Well, because I don't know why we got to 25. 20 I think is probably more than enough.
Yeah, we're done. Yeah, that would save
Well,
so much
because,
paper
like,
if we
okay,
just did 20.
we're only concerned with the top 12, plus the outsiders who have an outside shot of working their way in. You probably don't have more than 8.
Yeah.
And when it goes back when the playoff goes back up, or goes up to 14, sure, expand it back to 28, 25. Anyways, okay, so you want to start with conference realignment, or you want to do with do playoff first?
Let's do playoffs since we're already kind of
All right,
there.
playoff.
Yeah.
Who was that? Well, I'm blanking on his name.
I can't remember the guy's name. Coach for the
Chargers, wasn't it?
that was the Colts.
Colts.
Playoffs.
It's gonna be stuck in my head now. All right, playoff. 12-team playoff this year. Great, maybe. Some nuance here. Like, where do you want to start? Like, just that we get a playoff. We get 4 rounds of playoff games now instead of just 2.
Yeah.
First 4 get a bye.
Yeah.
Top
I
4.
think one great place to start is there's a chance that you will see a team play 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 games this year.
And there also is an outside shot that you get a matchup 3 times in a season.
Oof. Yeah, there is.
When you get a regular season matchup,
Yikes.
a conference title game matchup, and then a playoff matchup.
Then a third rematch. It's tough to beat a team 3 times.
You remember when Alabama and LSU played twice, and we're like, what are we doing? What do we do? The results on the field should matter.
I think we actually said that to each other.
We weren't even. It was like 2010 or whatever, 2011. Whenever they played each other in the regular season, ended up in a bowl game.
I didn't know you then. I guess I didn't.
Oh, maybe,
I thought
maybe
I knew
this is
you.
going back to taking the plains days when we
Yeah.
talk about this. Let's see. LSU, Alabama rematch. When was this? 2009? No.
Jim Mora was the coach for the Colts, by the way. I did my own Googling.
Oh, see, I wouldn't have been able to pick it out real quick. When did, because they
So
would have had to play twice. Yeah, there it is. It was the 2011 season. They played November 5th and they played January 9th. Because I remember this. The first time they played, it was a 9-6 overtime win for LSU, one
hmm,
versus two. And then when they played January 9th, again, one versus two, Alabama won 21-0. I'm so glad we got that. Because what it was when it was a
I
nine to
think that
six
was what
game,
spurred on the playoff, right? Wasn't that the last BCS champ season?
probably. Anyways, so yeah, we have the outside shot of getting a matchup three times. Um, the point you were making, which I've totally like, I've lost now. What did you say?
Oh, I was just talking about the possibility of someone playing 17 games.
Yeah, we can go 17-0, although it's unlikely if you're gonna
Well,
be playing in the first round of the playoffs,
16
unless
and
you're
1
a
is probably more likely than 17 and 0.
15
16
and
and 0,
2 maybe.
I guess, is possible because you'd get that
Um,
bye week.
yeah. So the first round is going to be 5-12, 8-9, 6-11, 7-10. Um, winner of the 5-12 team will play the 4 seed. The 8-9 will play the 1. 6-11 will play the 3. And the 7-10 will play the 2. In those first two rounds, Michael, the higher seeded team gets to choose the location of the game,
Yes.
um, which could be on campus stadium. It could be a neutral site, which was
So
like,
this will, I know, I
it
wonder
made me
if,
roll my eyes like, okay, we wanted to have on campus games, meaningful playoff games, and then like wrote in this little footnote. Oh, by the way, if the higher seeded team doesn't want to play at home for whatever reason, they can move it to a neutral site. It's like, then what are we doing? Again, we wanted to have on campus like, but what about the students? Well, if it's a meaningful game, they'll be there. You'll sell tickets to Baton Rouge in December. You don't have to put it in New Orleans or Atlanta. I don't know.
yeah, this is
I rolled my eyes at that
this will
part.
be, yeah, it's pretty much the first weekend that bowl games start or around that time. So
Hmm.
for this year, these 4 games will take place on Friday, December 20th and Saturday, December 21st. Also on the seating, I feel like we should kind of back up a little bit too. So I know most of y'all listening probably know how this works, but seeds 1 through 4 will belong to the quote unquote Power 4 conference champions, and they will be in order of their highest rank.
Which I have mixed feelings there, Michael.
I do too.
I understand that there's a piece of it that I, as a Big 12 member, should appreciate, that the Big 12 will be represented in the top four there. Um, because if that wasn't built in, it would have been like, well, you're going to get two Big 10 teams and two SEC teams,
Probably
or
yes.
maybe two SEC, one Big 10, one ACC, or whatever mix there, where it's going to be Big 10 SEC bias. Um, so I appreciate that, but then you're not getting a true 1 through 4. So it's like I don't like the trade off either.
Yeah. It's going to be weird when inevitably there will be a 9 and 3 4 seed, and
And
then
an
there's going to
11 and
be
1
like,
5 seed.
yeah, or a 12 and 1 6 seed or whatever. Who knows? Because Notre Dame goes undefeated. And
I
they're left out
love
because
I
they
love
they the best they can possibly do is fifth.
yeah,
That's the
because they're
best
not going to
seeding
be
they
a
can get.
they're not going to be a Power 4 conference champion. I have heard Notre Dame fans talking themselves into thinking that's not a negative, that like the 5-12 matchup may be more advantageous than say the 4-5 matchup the next week.
Yeah.
Sure, but you still have to play that game, and a number 12 still going to be dangerous.
Yeah. A
You have to
feisty
play an extra
Mississippi
game.
State, but
Yeah,
you're taking them to South Bend though, so I think that's the
maybe.
selling point
I'm
there.
sure that I'm sure Big Ten country schools were the genesis for let's let the higher seeded team determine if they want to play at their home field or if they want to play in Indianapolis. They
So,
want to go indoors.
ugh,
Screw that.
so the top four seeds
Sorry.
will be your quote unquote Power Four conferences.
Mhm.
Um, the remaining seeds will be, let's see, the schools seeded 5 through 8 will host those seeded 9 through 12. Could also do neutral site if they want, like you said. But you're guaranteed of that of the remaining 8, the highest ranked group of 5 team will push out somebody. And that's going to be interesting too, because what if the highest ranked group of 5 team is, you know, a 10-3 Louisiana or Liberty or somebody, and they would normally be ranked 20th, but because of this rule, they get the honor of being ranked 12th. And so then Iowa State or somebody, which was probably a horrible, let's say Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State was 12th the week before that. Well, sorry about you. You don't get to be part of the college football playoff because
Mhm.
Liberty is the highest ranked group of 5 team.
Again, like it feels like we wanted to expand the playoffs to make sure we were capturing the teams with the best chances to play for a title. And sometimes we felt like maybe that was more than 4. But now with all these side rules and write-ins and like this team will jump this team, blah 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 blah. It's like you kind of took away the point of expanding the playoffs to begin with. Because okay, if you want to give the best 12 teams a shot, again, like this sounds like I'm an SEC homer, like I'm trying to get more SEC teams in the playoff, and I'm not. I'm really not. Their schedule bears itself out. They're already set up with their only 8 conference games, which is a complete joke, and their 2 bye weeks against FCS opponents because nobody will hold their feet to the fire and say you have to schedule FBS opponents. You have to schedule Power 5 opponents. Everybody. You'll get one team that will. You get like an LSU Oregon matchup. Like, look at the SEC scheduling difficulty. Oh my gosh, it's admirable to do that and then have to play the SEC schedule. Oh my, wow. Let's disregard that. LSU would then have played like Louisiana Monroe, um, Arkansas State,
South Alabama.
Long Island University. Like, oh, cool. Your non-conference outside of whatever. We'll
Austin
we'll get
P.
to the big we'll get to the SEC non-conference scheduling nonsense later because they get all the praise in the world for being such a powerful conference and such a tough schedule, Michael. Such a tough schedule. How do they survive? Because they scheduled 2 cupcakes in a row, and everybody points to the one in November, which is also a joke. But don't forget the one they schedule in August and September. There's 2 of those MFers on the schedule. You can't just be like the one in November gets everybody's attention. Everybody's pissed off about that, getting ready for conference championship games, and Alabama's gearing up to play the Citadel, or Chattanooga State. Don't forget the Austin P they played in September.
Yeah, that was a legit one. That
No,
actually
because
happened.
I looked at Dre McCray highlights from as an Austin P wide receiver playing against Alabama, which would have been early season. Let's pull up let's pull up the Texas Longhorns.
No.
2024 football schedule, Michael. What do you say?
Why are we doing this?
Let's see. Colorado State. Okay, so
I think they have a decent. I think they have a decent one.
they haven't fully been indoctrinated into the SEC ways
Yes.
because they have Colorado State, okay, UTSA, LA Monroe. They're playing in Michigan. Sorry, I was like, where's their cupcake? Okay, sorry. Longhorns, bad example. Let's go LSU. Let's go LSU.
You might. I don't know.
Shoot,
You might should have researched this beforehand.
I should have because they got they've got USC, Nichols,
Mhm.
okay, UCLA, South Alabama. They preloaded their non-conference, front loaded. Okay, let's look at Alabama then.
Theirs is looking pretty good too. Oh no!
What?
Oh no! There's a Mercer sandwich on November 16th.
Mercer. You know who else they play? Western Kentucky, South Florida, and Wisconsin.
Yeah, not bad. That's respectable.
Well,
Especially
Western Kentucky's
Wisconsin.
been. Yeah.
I guess.
Who else does that? Does Tennessee do that? I bet they do that.
But yeah, they play Mercer on November 16th.
Oh, Tennessee for sure does. Who do they play? UTEP, November 23rd. They play Chattanooga, NC State, Kent State. All right. Well, it's not as bad as I was letting on, but still. Southern Miss, Ohio. Look at the Kentucky schedule now. Murray State, November 16th. Okay. You get the point. One more. Let's look at Auburn.
Georgia plays UMass November 23rd. Theirs is pretty soft. They week 2 they play Tennessee Tech. So Georgia's out of conference are Tennessee Tech, Clemson. They open against Clemson. They play UMass November 23rd, and then they play Georgia Tech to finish off the regular season.
Auburn has Alabama A&M, Cal, New Mexico, and Louisiana Monroe. That Louisiana Monroe game is November 16th.
Cal doesn't even have their flights booked yet.
Okay.
They're going to be wondering why they're not playing Oregon. Really devoted fans.
Wait, why are we playing so many East Coast
Wait a
games?
minute. This is kind of weird.
They have no idea what's about to hit them. So playoff expanded, yes. Is it what everybody thought they were going to get? No. It'll be interesting. I think being able to watch it may also be interesting. The where the games are going to be broadcast, I think like 2 of the Saturday games in the first round are going to be on TNT, Michael.
Yes.
College football playoff on TNT on Saturday the 21st.
Think about who works for Turner Sports though.
Tony Romo.
Kevin Harlan.
I like
Kevin Harlan announcing college football.
I haven't heard him do football, and I know he used to.
Oh, he's great on football.
A long time ago.
He does football all the time on Westwood One. He still does it on the radio all the time, every Sunday at least.
Well,
I think every Sunday.
Okay.
He usually has like whatever the big game of the week is on period. It's usually the one he's doing for Westwood One radio. It's incredible.
Who gets the second game, Michael?
For CBS. Not CBS, TNT. Turner.
TNT football broadcast crews.
Well, I could give it to what's Ian Eagle up to? He did a good job at NBC for the Olympics. He did a lot of good work there.
Could it be Chip Carey, Skip Carey, Vern Lundquist? Bring him back. Bob Neal,
Bob.
Ron Thulin. Anyways, oh, Craig Sager down on the sideline with one of his Blazers.
He's he's
He
dead.
passed. My
Okay.
bad. But that would have been pretty cool, right? Yeah,
It,
yeah.
it
A good save there, maybe.
yeah, it was flawless.
My bad. I don't watch enough basketball to
No.
keep up with that.
No, you do not.
R.I.P. dude. Okay, so I think this kind of brings in. We'll talk about the network realignment before we get to conference realignment, because that also was a little bit of a shakeup. Because as long as I can remember, and it's not like it's going back that far, the CBS afternoon prime time slot for the SEC, that's been a thing in my life. That's gone, no longer. CBS will be picking up Big Ten. I don't know if it's the same crew. Like if you'll get the
Yeah, I
Vern
don't know either.
Lundquist over on up in Happy Valley or up at the U, but
I thought Vern
Horseshoe,
retired.
he probably did, and because he's 98, why would he still be calling football games? But ESPN kind of expanded their grab into SEC with the CBS departure. Like I said, CBS is going to picking up some Big Ten coverage. Fox still focusing on the Big Ten and the Big 12. I think it's great. I love Fox. I love the Big 12 on Fox.
I think they do a fine job. I really like their score bug.
Yeah,
That
it's
might
still
be
kind of
one of my
hokey.
favorite things. Yeah, but at least it doesn't take up like
No,
12% of your screen.
not the score bug. The big nooner stuff. NBC holding on to Notre Dame in Big Ten. We touched on TNT picking up a couple of playoff games. The CW, bless them, picked up some college broadcasting rights for Oregon State, Washington State, and some ACC games.
Which it was announced today,
Go
or I
back
don't know.
to.
I don't know if it was announced today or if I just saw it today, but one of those games will be the TCU SMU game. Will be on the CW.
That's unfortunate. I don't know. I wouldn't watch that game, but
well, and the thing that I enjoy most about this, and we'll get to the realignment, but now that SMU is in the ACC, they wanted to be in the ACC so bad that they
gave up all their broadcast,
all their broadcasting money for 10 years or something
10
crazy.
years. Yeah.
So
they
they're
did
going to
have
be they're going to be on the CW and not even get paid for it. Be on the CW for free.
Sucks.
To
be to do all that to get into the ACC, which may fold here in a year.
Yeah, and make it have a weird number of teams. Good job, Mustangs.
But they're not tied to a number like every other conference. Well, I guess the SEC isn't. Big 10, Pac-10, Pac-12 was.
SEC is the SEC. If you're going back and looking at just the best named conferences of the power groups or whatever, it's the best one. It's just so
geographically tied.
It's correct.
It made sense. Yeah.
3 letters. It shortens to 3 letters. It's just nice. They did a good job there.
All right. Speaking of conferences, Mike, let's talk a quick realignment update. Just for those that not been paying attention or had forgotten, Big 10 added 4 teams. Again, not geographically related, not going to make a whole lot of sense to see UCLA playing out in Piscataway, New Jersey.
I don't even.
Is that where Rutgers is?
I love how you rattled that off. I thought Rutgers was in New York. In Rutgers, New York.
Who's in? Okay. UCLA playing out in Maryland and have a
Piscataway.
Who plays in Piscataway? Piscataway.
Careful how you spell that.
New Jersey. Is Rutgers. Screw you, Michael. It is in Piscataway, New Jersey. No, not screw you. I like
It's not in Rutgers, New York.
I don't even know if is Rutgers even a Rutgers, New York. The State University of New Jersey, Rutgers University, Newark School. Oh, hold on. Yeah, no, it's the land public land grant research university consisting of 4 campuses in New Jersey.
What's beautiful? We all learned something today.
Originally called Queens College and was affiliated with the Dutch Reformed Church, chartered in
Ah,
1776. 1766. I can read. Okay. Um, Big Ten has 18 teams. So the 14 they did have, plus UCLA, USC, Washington, and Oregon. So prepare thyself for that. ACC, 17 teams. Even makes less sense. They added 3 teams: Cal, Stanford, and SMU. Those 3 rats jumped off the sinking ship that was the Pac 12. Although technically the Pac 12 still exists, Michael, with just 2 teams.
well, SMU wasn't Pac-12 though. They
No,
were. Who were
sure.
they? Conference USA,
USA
AAC.
or the American.
Yeah, I think they were the American.
Um, the Big Ten, sorry, Big Ten, Big 12. Y'all know this. We added 4 teams, up to 16 now. Arizona, Arizona State, Colorado, Utah, to join Cincinnati, Houston, BYU, and UCF to the Hateful Eight. SEC is at 16 as well, adding Texas and Oklahoma. Of those Power Four conferences, the Big Ten, the ACC, the Big 12, and the SEC, no divisions, which opens the door again to the rematch sandwich nastiness that could play out in the playoffs. Um, but maybe this means you do get the 2 best teams of the conference in the conference tournament, conference championship game, instead of the best of the divisions. Y'all remember when the Big 12 had divisions in 2008?
Yeah,
Teams 1 through 4 were in the Big 12 South. Uh, who was in the North that year? Was it Kansas that
it might
represented
have
the
been.
North?
Oh, good question. It might have been Kansas.
Yeah, they were. Um, they couldn't hold it even with Texas Tech. I think the Texas Tech Kansas game in 2008 was like a 63. It was like a 42-point game. We murdered them. They were
It
not.
might have been Kansas. I know Missouri got pretty good there before they left, but
I know Colorado was in the Big 12 title game a couple years before that, though.
yeah, that was
Anywho's,
early 2000s.
so no more divisions. And then we mentioned this earlier, adding 1 team to the FBS. Kennesaw State this year is the one newcomer. I think it's 130 now.
Yeah, or 135, or I can't remember what it is. I put the note in here. Did you know where Kennesaw was?
No, 134 schools.
So it is approximately 40 miles northwest of Atlanta. In case you didn't know.
What is their mascot, Michael?
I don't know. They're the
They are
Bobcats.
the
They're the Owls.
Owls.
Yes.
Let's see. What is their enrollment? 35,000. Much bigger than I thought it was
Yikes.
going to be. Big time. Okay. Anything else? Conference realignment, network realignment, playoff related?
I don't think so, man. I think that's. I thought about rattling through the 12 team playoff if we went off the preseason rankings today, but that just seems that seems silly. And then of course I thought, well, let's go back and look at 2023. But so many of these teams have changed conferences that looks silly too. So those what if scenarios don't even make sense anymore. So I'm ready to move on to the
Yeah.
next item.
Well, next item is coaching carousel and player carousel, transfer portal. Some of these will just be the big names, big schools, like an update like where they are. I did a lot more deep diving into Big 12 coaches and reminders that like the TCU staff is a bunch of scumbags. Um, can't let you forget that they have Kendall Briles on staff, still. Um, and then other guys I think are interesting to know. People like, oh, hmm, that's cool or interesting. I already said the word interesting. So, all right. Big names. Obviously, we know Kalen DeBoer, Washington to Alabama. Jed Fish, Arizona to Washington. Um, Brennan uh, took over at Arizona for Fish. And then Ken Niumatalolo left Navy and has taken over San Jose State. Deshaun Foster, that one. Yes, with no coaching experience. He's now the head coach at UCLA. That's fun to know. He had that opportunity because Chip Kelly, former UCLA head coach, left to become the offensive coordinator at Ohio State. Um, Big 12 ties here. Obviously, Willie Fritz going from Tulane to Houston. I did not realize this until I was doing this. He had previously coached at Sam Houston State and Blinn. So he has some lower division Texas ties at very successful programs.
Yeah, no kidding.
Here in the state. Big 12. Let's do a whip around here. We'll start with TCU. Kendall Briles is their offensive coordinator. This is not his first year there, but it's just a reminder. We just can't let people forget. Doug Meacham, yes, that one. Their former offensive coordinator is their inside receivers coach. Mark Tomerdahl is not the special teams coach, but the special assistant to the head coach.
To the head coach.
And also, I heard this through the Frogs Insider podcast hosts that joined the Gauchos. Todd Graham and Dana Holgerson are both defensive analysts, which is interesting to take an old offensive coach to help your defensive coach. I don't hate that. Apparently, they're taking their approach to how they're going to do this very differently. I believe it was Melissa from the Frogs Insider podcast was also, it was like at one of the scrimmages. It said Todd Graham was on the field taking notes, all up in the wheelhouse of Andy Avalos, their defensive coordinator, while Holgerson was perched up in the box, feet up, drinking a Red Bull. Probably nothing else in that cup, but who knows?
Yeah.
Enjoying the AC while his other compatriot was out there on the field.
I saw, speaking of Holgerson, I did see a soundbite from him. See a soundbite.
Can you
see a quote? I saw a quote where he was talking about that he will not have any responsibilities on Saturdays, so he won't have to actually go to the games. So they asked him, well, what are you going to do? And he said, I'm going to tailgate for the first time in 30 years.
At TCU?
Well, really? I don't know. He didn't say where.
With whom?
He didn't say where. He might show up in Stillwater. I don't know. He might show up in Lubbock.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Dana Holgerson just walking by. Yeah, seriously. Come on by, Dana. Say hello.
Except for the week that we play TCU. Let's move over to Baylor. They hired Jake Spavital to be their offensive coordinator. And just an old name that Texas Tech fans should be familiar with. Kevin Curtis is their cornerbacks coach, former cornerback coach for the Red Raiders. Kansas State, Matt Wells, co-offensive coordinator up there, Purple Kansas.
His second year, right?
He is his second year on staff, but this is his first year as co-OC.
Okay.
Also, former Tech connection and to Matt Wells connection, Will Farrar, offensive lineman, is an offensive GA up there now. West Virginia has Chad Scott on their coaching staff. Obviously, was on the offensive staff here under Neil Brown, so it makes sense that he's with Brown there at West Virginia. Nobody really Oklahoma State except former quarterback J.W. Walsh. I thought was interesting. Former Cowboy quarterback, not Texas Tech quarterback. Is offensive GA for them. Colorado, Warren Sapp. Yeah. Former NFL defensive lineman. Senior quality control analyst. You probably have to give him the senior title because he's like 50-something years old now. This one may be only of interest in a guy that only I would know, but Harvey Unga is their running backs coach at BYU. He was a big time running back for them 20, almost 20 years ago, when they were more of a power running team. Um, Imagine like a Samoan or All Blacks type of rugby team, and like that was the build you got from Harvey Young, and that's how he ran. Like he just big physical bruiser. Like absolutely love to watch him run. Just demolish people, punish people. Harvey Unga. Anyways, he's their running backs coach. Um, we talked about these guys a couple weeks ago. We did the Arizona welcome party, but Dwayne and Keena, former Texas defensive coach, is the Arizona defensive coordinator, and Dino Babers, former Syracuse head coach, is their offensive coordinator. Hines Ward is a wide receivers coach for Arizona State, and then Coach Cactus himself, Brian Carrington, cornerbacks coach there for the Sun Devils, actually in the desert now.
Yes.
And then quickly, just around the rest of the country, what I found to be interesting, to replace Willie Fritz at Tulane, they hired John Summerall from Troy, where he went 23-4 and won 2 Sun Belt championships. So maybe Tulane is here to stay. Sharon Moore was promoted for formerly the offensive coordinator at Michigan to replace Harbaugh. Bill O'Brien is the head coach at Boston College. Most recently was the OC for the Patriots. Before that was the OC at Alabama under Saban. Mike Elko moved from Duke to A&M after A&M fired Jimbo. Manny Diaz was the defensive coordinator at Penn State, now the head coach at Duke. Bronco Mendenhall, another BYU connection here, was there for many, many years, was at Virginia for a while, didn't end up working out. Hasn't been coaching anywhere since 2021. So jumping back into coaching after 3 years off at New Mexico. Best of luck to you there, coach. We mentioned Ken Niumatalolo moving from Navy to San Jose State and not bringing the option with him. Probably smart. Jeff Lebby, Oklahoma OC, now the Mississippi State head coach. And then Major Applewhite, still kicking around, promoted to head coach at South Alabama, was previously their offensive coordinator. So, in terms of players, there wasn't a whole lot that like name recognition that stuck with me, except for Quinshon Judkins, who is the running back from Ole Miss, is now up at Ohio State. Some people may recognize Julian Sayin, the Alabama quarterback, now going to Ohio State. Other quarterback of note going to Ohio State is Will Howard from Kansas State. That's interesting.
Yes, that's true. I'd forgotten about that, but he had a quote come out recently, something about how it could be interpreted. There were a lot of Kansas State fans in their feels because it could be interpreted that the way he said it, he didn't have enough guys around him. He felt like he had to do a lot more at Kansas State, and so there was something about he
Well,
didn't feel the need to have to do as much at Ohio State. But there was a lot of people. Oh yeah, but you had so and so, and you had this guy, and you had that guy, and of course, we're just
you
like any of
can't
us would be.
you can't really stack rosters side by side and like Kansas State and Ohio State, they're basically the same.
Yeah, if Alan Bowman said something like that when transferring to Michigan, we would have all crushed him. So I don't even begrudge the K State fans, but it's still just
Yeah.
I'd forgotten that happened until that quote came out.
Um, I'm looking through just the top guys. None of them really stand out to me that would be noteworthy to share. I did want to go through quickly some of the Big 12 schools, um, just as guys you'll see. One, not a name specifically, just the mass exodus from Arizona up to Washington. I mean, kind of expect that, but Um, anyways, Jaden Rashada, quarterback for Arizona State, transferred out to Georgia. It's kind of a big deal because that was kind of their juice there. Jalen Conyers coming in from Arizona State to Texas Tech. Y'all know that. They are replacing. I mean, if you can replace Jaden Rashada, they're replacing him with Sam Levitt from Michigan State. I know he had some time up there. I forgot to mention Cam Ward transferring out of Washington State. So they're going to be breaking in a new quarterback when Texas Tech comes up to see him. Baylor.
Oh my gosh. Hang on. Arizona had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 players transfer to Washington. Sorry, go ahead. I didn't realize it was that bad.
Baylor's got a couple interesting ones. Drake Dabney went in conference from Baylor to TCU. Steve Linton, obviously Texas Tech edge rusher, down in Waco now. Blake Shapen, former quarterback there for the Bears, is now at Mississippi State with Jeff Lebby. That could be an interesting matchup there. They've had some guys depart. Had a quarterback go from Baylor to Texas State. That's a really that move probably took all day to drive the U-Haul down from Waco to San Marcos. What's that drive like? 45 minutes?
Oh, on 35? Probably multiply that by 3.
It could be all day.
It could the drive alone could have been all day.
BYU, John Henry Daly. Is this the kid that we supposedly spat on when we played them up in Provo this year?
Oh, maybe.
He's a defensive lineman.
I don't know if he was a lineman. I thought he was a linebacker.
So I thought it was an edge guy, like a defensive end.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe so.
Anyways, BYU has an edge player going from BYU to Houston, not Houston, BYU to Utah, which I'm sure is carrying a lot of favor up there with all their fans because those two teams and fan bases hate each other. Gary Bohannon, former Baylor quarterback, went to USF, South Florida. He's now at BYU. Wanted to share that little tidbit. Let's see. Cincinnati, they have anybody? I don't remember seeing anybody on there. Okay. Moving on. I don't want to be here all night just scrolling through their rosters here. Colorado/Kansas State had that interesting connection of Dylan Edwards, the running back, going back to Kansas, to the state of Kansas, to Kansas State. Other than that, though, like Dion is just living and dying by the portal. Matthew Golden at Houston, moving on to Texas. Defensive lineman Jamari Caldwell going from Houston up to Oregon. Sam Brown, receiver, going to Miami. Guys that we'll never have to see again. Let's see, anybody else that we recognize? I don't see anybody else. And Michael, just if you hear anybody or you see anybody you want to point out, let me know.
Well, I thought I could round up the Texas Tech ones really quick.
Do that.
So, most folks remember, but my memory's pretty short. So those that have left Tech, Jerron Bradley is at Boston College now. Loic Fungi is at Vandy. Steve Linton is at Baylor, as you mentioned, I believe. And then, of course, Tyler Shuck and Monroe Mills landed in Louisville. And Miles Price is at Indiana. Josiah Pierre, UCF, transferred within the conference.
Kansas State had a couple of bigger contributors transfer out. So they had Will Lee, cornerback, as a 4-star transferred out to A&M. Safety Kobe Savage transferred to Oregon, and then running back Trayshawn Ward transferred to Boston College. Those are the big ones. Well, I mean, outside of Will Howard too. Let's see, Oklahoma State. Do they have anybody? They don't strike me as a portal heavy team with the weight, with the comments that we've heard from Gundy. Gosh, I'm struggling with words and names today. TCU lost a 4-star transfer on the defensive line to Oklahoma. They picked up a 4-star receiver from Notre Dame, Braylon James. Let's see. Dabney, we mentioned Cordell Russell. It's an interesting name, but was there that quarterback at LSU that with that same name, or am I making that up and like mixing that up?
Cordell Russell?
Mm-hmm.
There's a Cordell Stewart.
Yeah, it was after that, obviously.
I don't know.
LSU quarterback Russell. Jamarcus Russell? Surely I'm not thinking about him. Okay, no. Chandler Morris, quarterback there for TCU, is now at North Texas. We may actually see him on our schedule when Texas Tech plays the Mean Green. UCF, you touched on one of the big ones with them picking up Josiah Pierre. Although if you agree with PFF grades, like he was not one of your best defenders, your best performing defenders. Quarterback KJ Jefferson transferring in from Arkansas. I think that matchup there with Gus Malzahn and KJ Jefferson could be one to watch. Gives me a little bit of pause there with Malzahn history with big running quarterbacks. Utah picked up a 4-star receiver from USC, which we talked about when we did their welcome party, air quotes all the way around. And then I'm not seeing anybody of note for the Mountaineers. I'm sure they're going to have tremendous words. So, anywho's, last thing I want to touch on for what's new in 2024, Michael, before we wrap this up, or some of the rule changes that we'll be seeing. The 2-minute rule is coming to college football. You will get a timeout there and a running clock on first downs, except in the last 2 minutes of the second and fourth quarters. Then you'll get the timeout. The time will stop for the chains to reset after first downs under 2 minutes, like how we've normally seen it. And then you'll also see a 10-second runoff for pre-snap penalties. I've seen several articles on this rule mention this one aspect specifically, so it had to be in like a release from the NCAA. Like they're hoping to get rid of the back-to-back media timeouts that we got slammed with almost every game, where a team would take a timeout, run a play, take a timeout, and you get a full TV commercial break. 5 minutes of commercials, around 37 seconds of action on the field.
Yeah, if you're lucky.
Yeah. In-helmet communications are going to be added to one player on each side of the ball. This was something that was tested out in the bowl season and it supposedly went well enough to expand out to the rest of the NCAA. Those players will have a green dot on their helmet. Um, I'm not sure why that's important to identify that one person or that one helmet, but you would assume it's going to be the quarterback and probably um, your middle linebacker or maybe like a real keyed in safety, maybe. But he'd have to be in the box for most of it to be. Anyways, defensively, you'll have a guy, and then your quarterback. Um, Comms will shut off 15 seconds before the play clock expires or at the snap of the ball, whichever comes first.
Mm.
Um, I don't know the significance of this piece, but teams can now use tablets to review in-game video during the game on the field. They're going to have up to 18 tablets to place wherever they please, coaching booth, sideline, locker rooms, wherever, and they'll have access to broadcast camera angles, all that kind of stuff. Um, there's an update to the horse collar penalty that if it occurs within the tackle box, it'll be a 15-yard personal foul, which doesn't sound like it's that big of a change, but it's the personal foul aspect. Those are cumulative that can result in an ejection. Um, Conferences are now going to be allowed the option to use a collaborative video replay review system. And again, another one's like big whoop, but head coaches can now conduct interviews with broadcast partners after the first and third quarters.
Oh,
So
I'm sure they're thrilled about that.
um, you'll get your exposure into Joey McGuire after the first and third quarters.
Yeah, I've never. I guess I didn't really realize that, but they just pick the winning coach at halftime, pretty much. Sometimes they'll interview both.
Well, what you'll get is you'll get the team that's behind. You'll get their comments kind of paraphrased back as they're coming back after halftime.
Yes, yeah, because
Oh,
they'll
well, the
they'll
coach
go.
said this. Blah blah blah
Yeah,
blah.
yeah. We spoke with Coach so and so during halftime, and what they've got to do is this. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, you're
I
saying
do
that the
think during the bowl game, I think they interview him every quarter or something. It seemed like it was just more often, but I may have.
yeah,
Bowl
it's like,
games are free for alls. I think they had those comms.
hmm?
One of my guys I work with was telling me about this. Hello, Will, if you're listening, by the way. He said that uh, during the bowl game, I think the comms were just on until the play was over. And so I think one of the players was talking about telling the guy, the whoever was wearing it on defense, "Hey, quarterback's running," and so they could, oh, okay, don't got to worry about coverage or anything. Let's go track this guy down.
It's helpful, but I mean, everybody's gonna be screaming that from the sideline, anyways.
Yeah, I know. I'm really
Or
glad they're shutting it
pass.
off. Yeah, I'm really glad they're shutting it off at snap or 15 seconds, whichever's left, because these guys got enough in their head already.
Yeah,
Let's not look at something. Look over the middle. Oh, interception. Great pass.
yeah. All right,
Sorry. Sorry,
let's.
Baron.
Yeah, I'm sure more voices in their helmet. It's going to be super helpful. Um, I did see that like, several people were saying like it's going to help with sign stealing. I was like, it only helps to eliminate sign stealing if you're calling a play into a quarterback that then is in a huddle,
Yeah,
and
right.
very few teams huddle. Like they're still gonna have to signal something out. Um,
Well, and any team worth their salt is probably going to still do both because, or at least train everybody to do both because stuff can go wrong. This technology may not work.
yeah.
There may be issues at whatever stadium you're at that day. And okay, well, the comms quit working halfway through
Oh,
the second quarter.
Texas Tech's comms go down while they're in Fort Worth. Who could have seen that coming? Hmm.
Bizarre and a bizarre turn of events.
Uh, in just the most inopportune time for the Red Raiders. I mean, they were driving in the fourth quarter when they were down by 4 and they needed a touchdown, and all of a sudden the offensive comms stopped working.
Yeah.
Man,
Thank goodness the play clock stops now with 2 minutes left. It's their saving grace.
Yeah. So, all right, let's we actually have a question to get to. And then let's wrap up with what do we learn. So let's do questions first. What do you think?
Yes.
Now, are these really the questions that I was called here to answer?
Who's in the box? Oh, what's in the box?
I'm Ron Burgundy?
Damn it! Who typed a question mark on the teleprompter?
You want answers?
I think I'm entitled.
You want answers?
I want the truth!
You can't handle the truth.
All right. From our good friend TW. He's asked for a couple of things, which we're happy to oblige, TW. Anybody else, really? You want to send us a question or a topic to discuss? Let's do it. Okay. I say cuss. We're family friendly here.
Sure.
Except in the post game instant reactions when we lose games we shouldn't lose.
Free for all.
It's free.
Or when we're overly excited.
Yeah.
Works both ways.
T-Dub asks, can we get an Oktoberfest rant? Question, Michael, for you. Have Oktoberfest beers already started hitting the shelves?
This is what I've seen. So
Because it is August 13th.
before I get too in depth in this, I wanted to have a beer while we talk about this.
Oh.
And not just any beer, Spencer, but Two Docs' own Raiderland Red, the official NIL craft beer of Texas Tech Athletics.
Well, I mean, if we're supporting Texas Tech athletes, then I say go ahead and open that bad boy.
All right,
let's
let's
see what
see.
we're dealing with.
So I
will
bought a
also-
6-pack of this the other day, and I
We'll
have
also
not
open a can.
tried it yet. Oh, what do you got? What do you got over there?
I've got Dr. Pepper strawberry cream soda.
Of course,
Strawberries and cream.
Oh, hang on.
It's my favorite.
So I've also been drinking Big Red Zero lately.
It's not
Crisp.
as satisfying as yours. Like you can hear a difference in a beer can and a soda can opening. You really can. For those not watching the stream or watching the playback on YouTube, Michael is pouring this bad boy into a Texas Tech glass.
I was trying to get it.
Did so skillfully.
I was trying to get some audio of the pour, and it did not go well. I poured it too smoothly. My fault, everyone. So there you go.
It didn't like glug 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 and like get a big head of foam on it.
Those watching, that's the Raiderland Red Pale Ale available here. I bought mine at HEB for a modest $12.50.
You're supporting
Ooh.
student athletes, Michael.
Ooh, it's supporting student athletes. So, cheers. Let's try it live here. Let's see how we're doing. It's good.
He's not just
I
saying
like
that
it.
because you have to, we're supporting athletes with the NIL collective, but
It's interesting to call. I mean, it's interesting to have a red pale ale. I don't think I've ever had that.
so from the camera, that does seem to have a reddish hue to it.
Yes. Let me see if I can get a little. It does. It does a little bit. It's probably. Yeah, it's not as red as I think it is.
I mean, it's not like
It looks nice.
like, it doesn't have the golden yellow of a Kurs.
The Kurs. But back to TW's question. So I just felt like I needed a beer to get into that.
Oh, yeah, okay. So he asked for an Oktoberfest rant and a Texas brewery ranking.
So
I can't
Oktoberfest
offer any of
rant, it's you've already brought it up. So the other day I was actually going to buy some Oktoberfest because this is when you have to start buying it now. It is October 13th. He posted over the weekend, I think.
By October 13th, he means August 13th.
Yes, that's what I mean. I just
we're-
feel like that's when they should.
We are
be on the
7 weeks
shelves.
out from October.
Yeah, I think it was last year. I arrogantly started seeing them in August, and I thought, oh well, next month I'll start buying some, and then they're gone, and it's all pumpkin beers. Like you got pumpkin beers rolling in before the end of September. Summer isn't even over yet. School starts tomorrow, but that doesn't count. So
Mhm.
this whole Oktoberfest thing just keeps creeping creeping up further and sooner into the year, to where by the time it's fall and you want a crisp Marzen, you want a delicious Oktoberfest beer, there are none to be had on the shelves. So what you've got to do right now is what I've learned from TW and from last year too. Just buy them. I've got to just start whenever I see a 6-pack of Oktoberfest I like. I'm just going to buy a 6-pack of it, and uh, I don't know, store it in the pantry or in the fridge until
Put it
it's
somewhere where you're not
actually
going to drink it.
yeah, until it's actually the right time to partake, as opposed to when it's 103 outside and someone's like, "Hey, let's get some Oktoberfest," and I'm going, "No, no, sir. It's my favorite seasonal beer, and it's being served at the wrong time, and it does make me upset."
Okay, question for you, Michael. You mentioned Oktoberfest beers being pushed off the shelves by pumpkin beers. These are two different things, yes? I
Yes.
would have assumed Oktoberfest and pumpkin beers would have kind of been synonymous, the same kind of thing, but no, they're different.
Definitely different. The pumpkin beers actually have pumpkin spice in them and are darker, a different beer style. I'm talking out of my tail end right now, but it is a completely different type of beer, different type of flavor, and usually something you really want when it's even colder. So that's kind of the shame too, because I don't mind a pumpkin beer. I can take or leave it most of the time, but I am kind of basic. I love a pumpkin spice latte. I am not kidding around about that. I have to get one of those at least once a year.
Um,
Delish.
Speaking of pumpkin spice, that's a little seasoning I put in my yogurts in the morning.
Oh, that's a
I've
nice
already
touch.
started. I've already started doing it. I'm ready
That's
for
okay.
fall.
I'm ready for fall too, but we can't will fall to happen by having Oktoberfest show up during 2-a-days. So he asked for like Texas brewery rankings. Sorry, TW, I haven't really given this much thought. I mean, Real Ale is probably always my number one, and I do like St. Arnold's quite a bit, but not to toot their own horn. And sorry, I know that Two Docs are the guys that crafted this delicious NIL beer, not a sponsor. But Good Line beer here in Lubbock is fantastic. I know that I'm a homer. I am a co-host of a Texas Tech Red Raider podcast who really likes Texas Tech. I would put Good Line up with just about anybody in the state. It's a really solid group of guys that make. They have some staples that they keep in there. They have like I can't even think of the names of them. This is terrible. This is a terrible ad, but Good Line beer, fantastic. So I would have like Real Ale, St. Arnold's, and Good Line would be my probably 3 that I would round off right now. And Good Line might be number 1.
Would it help if I like went to their website or no?
It might. They've
Nope. Their website
kind of
sucks.
they have like a new mango one out. They're always trying some different things. And they have like a buffalo, I forgot what it is, buffalo something. But their theme is kind of it's welcome to the Dust Coast. So they're embracing the West Texasness of it all out here. And yeah,
Beer
I
from
couldn't
the
tell you
Dust
the
Coast, yeah.
I couldn't tell you the name of their beers, but every one I've had is dynamite.
Okay. You also mentioned
Also not a sponsor.
seasonal beers. What other
Yes.
seasonal what other seasonal offerings would there be?
Christmas.
So just like fall into Christmas time is the only time you're gonna get like a seasonal, like a spring or a summer.
Maybe not the only
Like,
time. There are
get
types.
a beach beer and a pumpkin
Yeah.
beer and
There are
Christmas
types
beer.
that are more popular. Once you get into the spring, I think hazy IPAs get a little bit more popular in the spring. And then, of course, in the summer, most everybody wants light lagers and, maybe some light pale ales and stuff just because of the weather. Mexican lagers are super popular in summer. But yeah, as far as flavor, I'm sure I'm going to miss something. But really, I think Oktoberfest, and then you've got your pumpkin beer stuff, and then the Christmas ones. And the Christmas ones are great because they'll have like Christmas ales and of course a stout's an ale, but work with me here. So then they'll have Christmas stouts and porters that have different notes and different different flavors of cherry or spice or different kinds of things that make you think Christmas. Gingerbread, um, kind of that molasses type deep sweetness.
Okay.
Anyway, so yeah, Christmas beers would probably be my second favorite seasonal beer. Oktoberfest is number one.
All right. Well, you seem to be enjoying it. You keep going back and drinking it, so it's not like when you
It's a
spat
good
out.
beer. It's a good beer.
I of course am still enjoying. Like I said, this was my favorite one these days. The strawberries and cream Dr Pepper Zero.
I've quite enjoyed my Big Red Zero, but I don't know if I'll get another 12 pack. It was an impulse buy at Walmart.
You can't impulse buy sodas, Michael. Like what a flex you just had on us because those bad boys are like $8 a 12 pack these days. You have to wait for them to go on sale, which is experience. We wait for these things to go on sale at United and go buy up like 6 or 9 of them at a time.
Well,
Which
I've
is
never seen this
ridiculous.
in person. I swear there's a Facebook group about Big Red Zero because the second it hits, and there's all these convenience stores I've never heard of that apparently carry it, and then by the time people find out that, oh, it's over here at this one,
They're
and then
gone.
someone will post an hour later and they're all gone. And so that was the first time I'd actually seen it in the wild, and I thought, well, I've got to grab it. I've got to grab it.
Well, if you're a fan of Big Red Zero, HEB has a store brand knockoff that Samantha really likes. Their Wild Red Zero Sugar.
Okay, then
Um,
I will give it a shot. Next time
she's
I'm at HEB doing some Oktoberfest shopping in August.
and the HEB store branded sodas I think normally are like 450 a 12 pack. So
Hmm.
it's not going to set you back that much to give it a shot. Um,
I do
there
like
there
their sparkling waters too.
there was a stretch there when um, United hadn't put sodas on sale, and a long enough stretch, I was getting Dr. B or whatever it was from HEB, and it was not bad. And I told Samantha, like, if we have to make this transition permanent, I think I'd survive. What I would miss out on strawberries and cream.
Yep, that's right. You need the real thing.
The past few times we've gone to United, they've been out of the coconut and cream Dr. Pepper Zero, which is upsetting Samantha. I like it every now and then. It's a little too strong for me. All right, let's wrap this up with what did we learn, Michael? What do you say?
Yes.
What did we learn, Palmer?
I don't know, sir.
I don't know either.
All right, I'm gonna go first. I just have the one thing. I say we. I made birria the other day. Yesterday. Birria. Birria.
Berea.
Birria. And not with goat. I just do the chuck. But I do it with the rehydrated peppers and tomato, whatever. It's so good. I had it for we made it for dinner yesterday. I had some leftovers for lunch today. I didn't do the full on dip the tortilla and the sauce and kind of fry it up as like a little quesadilla, um, which is where I think when it got real popular and crazy trendy, like that's what people were seeing.
Mm-hmm.
I should have straight up taco, well, soft taco style, and it was still dang good. I foolishly clicked on an online ad on TikTok, unfortunately, for what they're calling a birria bomb, which is just the seasoning that you would put into the crock pot or whatever your cooking utensil device, all packed in together. So you just throw that in there instead of all the peppers and whatever. Um, and with the way that their algorithm works, every sponsored post that I come across is for these dang birria bombs. Um, which you're like, well, I mean, if it's a food you eat, like, what's the problem? One, um, it's $17 for two of them, so they're $8.50 a piece. You're talking about $8.50 in seasonings on top of your $20 plus cut of meat. Like you're talking about a $30 investment here for a meal. When if you're cooking at home, $30 on a dish is kind of steep, especially when you talk about like a third of it being seasonings.
Yeah, no joke. Yeah.
I didn't price it out to see if I spent that much on the peppers by themselves. I didn't want to go down that rabbit hole. But yeah. The other irritating thing about this with their algorithm on TikTok is, you know, that use the app will know if you scroll through, you get like a sponsored ad, you get a live video, and then just get back to your other content that is based on your previous activity and likes and views, all that kind of stuff. But some of the lives are people using the birria bombs. Like, guys, I've already clicked off the ad. I'm not spending $17 on a seasoning pack to make 2 chuck roasts. I'm not doing it. And I'm seeing all these people using it. I was like, I couldn't care less. TikTok, I need you to hear this. I'm pull up my phone.
They
I know
probably
you're
are. They probably are
I
listening.
know you're listening.
Yes.
I don't want to buy birria bombs. I'm not going to buy a birria bomb. Give me something else.
Great. Now I'm gonna have 'em.
Sincerely, Spencer.
Now I'm gonna have just nonstop.
Everybody else, your online experience is not going to be nothing but birria bombs. Um, but anyways,
That's my new fantasy football name.
birria bombs. There you go. It's fantastic. The meal itself still slaps. Still fantastic. I mean, it's chuck roast. It's so universal.
Would you say it's brat?
What would that stand
I
for?
don't know. I'm asking you. What does that mean? The kids are using it for something.
Is that supposed? Oh, is that like the?
Would you say it's brat?
I don't know what the letters stand for. So I don't know.
I don't think it's an
I can't
acronym.
confirm.
Okay.
Well, because
All right.
I thought it was just like an updated version of goat.
Oh, I don't know. I have no idea. Maybe it is an acronym. All right. I learned a few things. One.
Let's hear.
All right. I learned 3 things. We'll go to we'll go back to HEB because HEB is a place that we've known to love. We're
I have
grown
an
to
addition.
love.
I have an addition to your
Go
HEB.
forth.
No.
Oh, you
You-
go first.
You first.
So, I have sung the praises of the humble barbecue sandwich
Mhm.
on this podcast. The barbecue sandwich, the chopped brisket sandwich does not have to be the best brisket you've ever tasted in your entire life. It can just be a chopped brisket sandwich on some good buns with some good pickles, and it's going to be great. And
And it's okay to have sauce on a chopped
yes,
beef sandwich.
it's how you're supposed to do it.
Otherwise, it's
Supposed.
too dang dry.
Right. You're just going to be over there making a point and drinking a lot of your Big Red. So the family and I, we had to do some grocery shopping on Saturday, and it was so hot. I was like, I don't feel like getting in and out of the car twice. We were like, well, we're going to go out and have lunch. And my wife was like, well, should we go somewhere? Or do you just want to eat at HEB since we're already going to be there? I said, let's do that.
They got
Delicious.
really good barbecue for a grocery store.
That was a delicious barbecue sandwich. People got to quit turning up their nose on, oh, well, it's not the best barbecue I've ever had in my life. You know what? It's a barbecue sandwich. It's chopped brisket. It's good pickles. It was a good onion day too. A kind of a sweet sticky sauce. Not my favorite type of sauce, but hey, when in Rome, that's where I was. That's what they had. Really enjoyed myself. So hat tip to the humble barbecue sandwich.
Speaking of barbecue sandwiches, we've been making pulled porks a lot lately. Pulled pork, pork butts. Making a lot of barbecue sandwiches with that stuff, and it's good. The HEB thing I want to add. Also, like I was a big naysayer about HEB when they first opened up. I didn't like the store brand stuff. Had a lot of onion stuff in it, like guac and beans. I don't know, just anything you got branded. It was like onion heavy flavor. Their store brand Big Red, good stuff. Their wall outside their bakery, they have fresh made tortilla chips. Next to their fresh made tortilla chips, their chili lime tortilla chips from their bakery, game changer. We love to get those and eat them with guac,
Yes.
guacamole. But just straight up, like they're probably too much to do with like a salsa. Straight up, they're addicting. With guac, also super good. So if you haven't tried them out yet, check them out. Chili lime.
I will check those out. And speaking of chips, man, we are simpatico tonight. My second thing I learned coming back from Albuquerque, went to visit some family a few weekends ago. Stopped in the beautiful town of Melrose, New Mexico.
Never
Had
heard
a
of it.
wonderful Allsup's. Just a fantastic Allsup's. Of course, got a couple of beef and bean burritos because when in Rome. And I've talked about this before. Allsup's has flavored chips now, and they have for quite some time. But this is the first time I've seen this flavor. They had beef and bean burrito flavored chips.
I went to their website. I just saw those. Like, no way.
Yes way, and
Yes,
they
also a brand of
it's pretty
Allsup's.
accurate. Yes, that's right. And pretty pretty accurately flavored. They did a good job with it. I will admit, if you have it like right after having the real thing, you're not going to be as overwhelmed by the flavor. So I mean, I just chowed down 2 gut busters and then tried those chips, and I was like, they taste fine. They don't really taste like a burrito to me, but they taste fine. But then a day or two later, I polished them off, and I was like, okay, yeah, I'm getting it now. I'm getting that Allsup's beef and bean burrito flavor on the chips. So highly
Nice.
recommend next time you're in Allsup's. Still counting down the days for the one at 98th and US 87 opens because I'm going to gain 35 pounds. Third thing I learned. You may know this already, Spencer, but in the Whataburger app, you have the option to take a photo of a barcode of a coupon, and it will store it.
Did not know this.
So all this time I've been getting these flyers. Usually it's Tuesday. Today's Tuesday, so usually that's the day. That's flyer day at my house where we get all the whatever Ollie's has, whatever United has, and all that whatever's on sale. And usually Whataburger has one in there, but I've usually ignored it because I'm thinking, yeah, right. But they had a couple in there today, including one where it was if I buy a regular size value meal, I get a kids meal free, which, hey, it's a bonding moment for father and daughter. And 2, buy one breakfast on a bun, get a second one free. That's solid. And so I thought, I think there's a way I can store these on my phone. And sure enough, you open up the app,
Mm-hmm.
my offers, no, not my offers. Yes. Go to my offers, and then there's a button on the bottom right that says add coupon, and it looks like a camera, and it is, and it brings up your camera, and you can scan the barcode of those coupons, and it adds them to your app. It's fantastic. I had no idea that I could do that.
Me neither. I've not actually been ordering a lot of Whataburger lately.
Same.
Despite my shirt, I still stand for them.
Still supporting the brand.
Still, I am the brand. I have not had a.
Despite my Yeti tumbler, I'm drinking water out of.
I have not had a Whataburger quite some time. The last time I ate from them was some of my kids' fries. I have ordered a salad from them before, and I just got really frustrated with the markup on it. I was like, this is ridiculous to spend $17 on lettuce. Or the equivalent of $17. Well, the equivalent of $17 and my rewards points because I was not going to spend $17 on a salad.
You're over there with that Berea bomb money. Don't you talk about overspending on a salad?
I've been buying those Berea bombs. Or what's the other thing I used to get? Oh, so what I would get like their grilled chicken sandwich, and I would add chicken to it. More chicken.
The Buffalo Ranch chicken sandwich is back, by the way.
I've had my issues with that sandwich before, and it's burned me. It's one of those
literally
those experiences where like you don't want to relive it, so it's like just gonna stay away.
Yeah, smart man. Comes with age.
Experience. It comes with experience. All right, that'll do it for us on the 23 Personnel Podcast this week. 100 minutes of us. That's enough, right? We are happy to be back into 2024 prep and planning. Next week will be our Big 12 preview. Following that will be Texas Tech and ACU preview. So stick with us. For Michael, I'm Spencer. We'll catch you guys next time.
Thank you for listening to the 23 Personnel Podcast. Help us out by subscribing, rating the show, and leaving a review. Follow us on Twitter at 23 Personnel, Spencer at Punt Suck, and Michael at Michael_LBK. Be sure to catch the next episode. And until then, guns up and let the tortillas fly.